I wanted to make a video about my company, or my little business that I made. Sorry, I'm like on a windy road, so my camera is shaking about. And it's also raining, so you might hear my windshield wipers go off. Yeah, I just kind of want to talk about my business because I am quite proud of it. The name of my business, let's start off slow, is Rewind Rentals, and I'll go in about why it's called Rewind Rentals. And it's what my business is a game console repair service. And you're thinking about rentals and game consoles, like how those correlate. Well, they don't. So I had a couple years ago, I started getting into VHS tapes. And this was around the time that I had started collecting, I had started collecting a little bit before I started collecting tapes, VHS tapes. But I was collecting game consoles, and then I started collecting VHS tapes, and just getting up my hands on whatever I could get. At first, I was getting movies that I liked. No, I lied. I was getting movies that were more mainstream, like Speed with oh god, why am I blanking on his name? Keanu Reeves. I don't know why that took me so long. Speed starring Keanu Reeves, and Jingle All the Way, just something silly, but I wanted to get some mainstream movies, and then I was getting movies that I liked, and then I started getting movies that I've never heard of, but they looked cool, because that's what you did back in the day. You didn't have the internet. Well, I mean, you did have the internet, sort of, but seeing a movie without seeing a trailer, you didn't really know what to expect about the movie, so you would just see a cool picture on a cool cover on a tape, and then you would get it. Wow, it is lightninging over there. So that's what you did, was you would just get a cool cover. And so I started getting stuff that had cool covers, and then I started buying bulks of tapes online. Phone about to die, of course. And that's it. I'll just say this real quick. I don't see why people go on Amazon or even eBay and they'll buy brand new VHS tapes just to record over them, and with their stupid whatever they want to record on them. And it costs so much money to do that. I even fell victim upon it, because this is whenever I started getting into VHS tapes, wanting to record on them, and I bought a brand new stock of VHS tapes. I want to say I did this twice, actually, and I feel very ashamed of myself for doing this, and I will say I didn't buy them for a super bad price, but I would have gotten them a lot cheaper if I did it how I do now, where I just get bulks of recordable tapes that have been already recorded on. And heck, some of them that haven't even been, or that look like they've been used, haven't been recorded on. That's just something I wanted to rant about for a second. So back to my story about my company. So I wanted to turn my room into a video store. So I got the whole getup. I probably have a picture of my phone, and I'll display it right here. I'm sorry if it starts getting loud because it's starting to rain. And so I thought, okay, I want to make a name of my company. And holy cow, I can't even hear myself talk, it's so loud. So I wanted to make a name of my video store. So I started calling it Rewind Rentals after giving it some thought. I called it Rewind Rentals. And it didn't even take me that long to come up with it. And so I did that for a while. I had my video store, and then it's starting to turn time for me to move out. And so I was like, okay, well, let me take down everything, move my stuff over to the new house. Well, then we've had some problems getting into the new house because plumbing wasn't going right. We had to replace the plumbing. We actually just got that finished. And just a lot of things are starting to go wrong, but we were starting to slowly get back on track to get things right. And so now I don't have my video store. And then I had been wanting to do this for a little bit, but I've been wanting to take some broken stuff and just look at it and see if I can repair it. Well, this is way before I even knew anything about how electronics work. And so I would always fail at trying to repair stuff. Even if it was like simple stuff, I would always fail to repair it. And then I spent maybe a couple years learning how electronics work, and if there's a certain problem, how do I fix that? Fix my windshield wipers. You know, if there's this problem, how do I fix it? And so I would get as much knowledge as I could about repairing electronics. And so with that knowledge, what I would do is I would go out and buy broken consoles. So like I would buy a broken Xbox 360, a broken PlayStation 2. You know, I tried to buy stuff that would at least turn on, but as far as getting picture, gosh, my windshield wipers. As far as getting picture, that wasn't really the case. Oh my gosh, my windshield wipers. Sorry if you could hear that. But I just ended up getting whatever I could. And so after learning and working, I ended up fixing those consoles. All the broken consoles I've bought, I've fixed. And so then people wanted me to fix their stuff. And I've even went out as far as to fixing TVs. Not CRT TVs. Those probably not going to be something I'm going to be working on. I usually fix modern flat screens. Even though I'm not really 100% on board with modern flat screens, I still work on them. But CRT TVs is what I use every day, even just for normal TV, not for retro gaming. That's also another thing I want to talk about. I'll probably talk about that in this video, about retro gaming. But anyway, so I started repairing stuff, and I felt good about myself that I wanted to maybe go beyond friends and family, well, really family, to fix their stuff. So I ended up making a business out of it, and I kept the name Rewind Rentals because I couldn't think of anything else, and I thought it looked cool, and I already had like a kind of style that I wanted to go with that title. So I ended up doing like a synthwave kind of style because I like synthwave. I think it's a really cool design. I've tried to work with it before, but I've never really actually gotten to get it to work out for me. And then I ended up making my stuff a little bit ago. like my logo and the background and everything. So I ended up finding a way to make it work with my art style. Because my art style is more realism. I like to do realism, and I don't think I'm bad at it, but I'm not the best. Like, I even went to art school, and I'm not going to talk about college and art classes. Those, I will probably never do that again. Oh gosh, there's a car in a ditch. You can't park there. If anybody knows that meme. And so I ended up keeping the title Rewind Rentals, and I started making business cards, and I got lucky doing this. It's probably not the best way to do this, but I ended up making business cards first, then calling places and asking if I could put my business cards in there. And I ended up calling this video game store that carries old consoles, old games, you know, everything from like Atari to the latest whatever console. And they're the only place around me that will do that will sell consoles that are really old, games that are really old, all the way up to nowadays. So I ended up calling them up, and I said, hey, would it be this is, here's my name, this is what I do, and I would like to see if I could put some business cards in your store. After talking to the manager, and she said, yeah, that's great, that's fine, you can come over and put your business cards, and we'll display them up front, and we'll tell people who bring their consoles in that are broken that we can send them to you. I said, okay, that sounds awesome. And so I was really excited about this. I was really happy, because I was like, this is a step forward in my life. I actually have a dream that I've been wanting to do, and I'm actually accomplishing it. So, because they get a lot of consoles in, and a lot of times they have to turn them down because their stuff is broken. Or even if it's something simple, they can't take it if it's not 100% working. I had always saw that every time I went to that store. And so they started sending their customers to me. And so I started taking in consoles and working on them, and started making money. And there's even stuff like that, other repair shops that have like actual buildings that have employees that probably went to school for this, that they don't choose them and they choose me. And I would say the reason why is because you get sort of a more like a one-on-one person. Hey, I remember you because I worked on this, and we talked about this sort of stuff. And so it's like getting to know somebody. You get that kind of family feel. And also because I'm a lot cheaper than a lot of repair stores, because I don't have to pay for a whole other building, and I don't have to pay to have employees. The only thing I will have to pay for is like more tools, and even just like parts, like thermal pads, for instance. I have to get thermal pads. I have to get thermal paste. I have to get certain parts. And so I do make a good bit of money, but I'm also a lot cheaper. And even if I did go like repair store prices, I'd probably be swimming in money. But no, I'm not doing that, because I want people to get a good price for little money, or I want people to get like a good experience for little money. because that's how I am. I try to find the cheapest route. A lot of times, or not a lot of times, sometimes it doesn't work out for me like that, because if I go cheap, I kind of regret that, and I wish I went a little bit more expensive. But that's just like with certain things. Oh God. My phone slipped out of my hands. Wow, it's dirty. My phone slipped out of my hands. And so yeah, a lot of people, they come to me because I'm cheaper and they get more like a one-on-one feel to it. So that's about my story about my video store. Or not my video store. It was a video store, but now it's a repair store. At some point, I will probably try to have an actual like little shed and turning it into a store. That would be pretty nice, because then I would be able to send people, like I'll be like, hey, you can meet me at my store at this place. And so, because how I have it, since I don't have a building of my own and I'm just like at my house, I don't want to send people to my house because, you know, somebody could be like, oh, hey, I know where you live, or they'll like come stand outside my window and watch me sleep or whatever. So yeah, I just tell them like, hey, we can meet up in town, and most of the time that people are fine with that. Other times they'll just like, okay, well, I'll give you a call later, and then they never call back. But thankfully, I still do have like customers coming in, and I have one console at a time that I can work on. Like I have a PlayStation or a PSP. I was working on that, ordered the parts, I'm waiting for that. Then another customer comes in, he has a PlayStation 2 and 3. I'm working on that, and after that, I have other stuff to work on. So it's not like I'm running out of things to do. Even if I am running out of things to do, I start working on my own stuff because I still have a lot of consoles that I work on, and I want to get out, or not get out, but I want them to work 100% whenever I have my free time after spending hours of working on somebody else's stuff. Okay, so I'm kind of running out of time, but let me talk real quick about why I hate retro is my trigger word. I absolutely hate the word retro. It makes me so mad, and I even hate it whenever it comes out of my own mouth. I think it is overused, way too overused. I gotta get over. You know, let me over? Thank you. I think it is way too overused, and a lot of people ruin it by being like, okay, so if somebody has like a really old setup, or like they have like a CRT TV, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so retro. You're so retro. I love retro gaming. They say it so much. And it's just so annoying. And it's overused. I hate it so much. But yeah, it just became my trigger word. And I hate the word retro. If you say retro, you're going to piss me off. But yeah, I got to go now. Bye.